Hey everybody, as the election gets closer, let's take another look at bellwether counties. After this election, we don't know if there's going to be any left, but after 2016, we're down to just one remaining bellwether county in the entire country. So we're going to take a look at that county, some reasons as to why that might be the last remaining bellwether, and then we're going to take a look at the counties that had their streaks end in 2020. So let's get into it. The last remaining bellwether is Clallam County. That's in Washington State, and it's not supposed to be a county everybody's heard of. It's got to have a unique makeup to it if it's going to be the sole surviving bellwether. So let's read a little bit of this. It says between 1980 and 2012, several dozen counties voted for the winner of each presidential election, but after the 2020 election, just one of these bellwethers remained. Nestled in the foothills of the Olympic Mountains, Clallam County, Washington has voted for the winning nominee in 11 straight elections. And if not for blips in 68 and 76, the streak would stretch back to 1920. How has Clallam, a county of 78,000 in the northwest corner of the Evergreen State, retained its potential claim to fame? And can the streak continue in 2024? So that's a little bit of history and geographic information about this noteworthy county. So what's the deal? Why is this the one county that was able to predict Joe Biden over Donald Trump in 2020 while all the other ones got it wrong and voted for Trump? Well, even though a lot of streaks ended in 2020, in the election before that in 2016, 14 of the bellwether counties at that time had their streaks snap as they supported Hillary Clinton instead of the actual winner, Donald Trump. So all streaks do tend to end at some point, and 2020 was a complete wipeout for every bellwether except for Clallam. So first, why did the other 18 counties have their streaks end? Well, a key factor of that is likely going to be the demographics. They point to those counties tending to have lower college education rates, large white working class populations, and are located primarily in the Northeast and Midwest. So then they've got a table here. These are the bellwethers that had their streaks end in 16 and in 20. In 16, 14 of the streaks ended, and in 20 it was 18. The non-Hispanic white population of these counties that streaks snapped in 16 was 53.6. The Hispanic population was 31.6. In 2020, the non-Hispanic white population in those counties was 81.6, and the Hispanic population was 10.8. So that does back up what they mentioned earlier, a lot higher white population. Then college-educated voters in the counties that streak snapped in 16 was 29.7. In 2020, it was lower, 23.2. So that also points in a more working-class direction. So that pretty much already tends to back up what a lot of people already assume about the election of the two candidates. Trump clearly does better with white voters and voters without college degrees, and Hillary and Biden's better groups are going to be those with college degrees. It says as Democrats lost significant ground with white working class voters, the counties that lost their streak in 2020 swung dramatically toward Republicans in 2016, and most moved rightward yet again 4 years later, even as the nation moved left. It goes on to say, though no longer politically predictive, these fallen bellwethers are emblematic of shifting political coalitions, and those are the ones we just talked about. Then it talks about Clallam specifically. It says in terms of education and income, median household income and college degree rates are slightly below the national average, but importantly are well above most of the Trump 2020 bellwethers discussed earlier. Now, I'm not going to read everything, but this second paragraph says geography and ethnicity also offer important clues. Clallam's population is 81.2% non-Hispanic white compared to just 59.3% of the U.S. as a whole. That would suggest a far more Republican electorate, but compared to the Midwestern bellwethers, Clallam's religiosity rates are substantially lower. Only 52% of the county's residents are white Christians, while most rural Midwestern counties hover between 70 and 80%. And it says Clallam also does have a large Native American population of 5.8%, well above the national average, which is 1.3. And then it goes on to talk a little bit more about the specific geography and population density. So all the stats and demographics in this county might be as close to representing the nation at large as we're going to get. So is the streak going to continue in 2024? We don't know, but it's certainly on the table. Now we'll come back to a few more stats at the end, but let's get on Wikipedia and take a look at the counties that had their streaks end in recent elections. So these are the counties that had only one miss since 1980. And as you look at the older elections, there wasn't really that many in each year. But as we saw earlier, 2016 really had a big spike. These 14 counties supported Hillary Clinton and had their streaks snapped. Then we've got 2020. We've got these 18 counties. None of them really have any heavy populations. But let's quickly go through these one by one and see if any of them might have some potential of getting back on track. So we'll start in Bremer County, Iowa. We'll use the table here on Wikipedia. And I think there's only going to be some potential for these counties to flip in 2024 if they were relatively close in 2020. So last time Trump won this county by 16 points, even though it was a pretty good bellwether before that, supporting Obama 2 times. This is one of those counties that swung hard toward Trump, and it looks like in 2024 it's also going to vote the same. How about Cortland County, New York? This was actually a close margin. Even though it voted for Trump, it was only by a couple of points. He was under 50% of the vote there. So given that the margin was actually extremely close, I think it does have a lot more potential than Bremer County to resume its bellwether status. Next, in Essex County, Vermont. This one supported Trump by 11 points, but that margin makes it look unlikely that there could be enough movement for it to support Harris. Next, in Hidalgo County, New Mexico. This one, 15 points for Trump last time. I'm going to say this does not have much of a chance at going blue. Next, Juneau County, Wisconsin. This one actually supported Biden less in 2020 than in 16, and it voted for Trump by almost 30 points. This one I think is going to be another landslide for Trump. And in nearby Marquette County, Wisconsin, it's a similar story here, a massive margin for Trump. These are some of these counties in the Rust Belt that did vote for Obama 2 times, but there are places that have since gone all in on Trump. How about Otsego County, New York? This one, under a 5-point margin for Trump. I'd say it's not likely to flip it, but it is going to be much closer than those 30-point margins. In Ottawa County, Ohio, this is another over 20-point margin for Trump. It's tough to imagine this one getting much more narrow. Then back to Wisconsin, we've got Richland County. This is a county in the Driftless area. It's red, but it's not overwhelmingly red. It could get a little bit bluer, but it also is a place that Trump could make some more gains. Another one in Wisconsin, Sawyer County. It voted for Obama 2 times, but then it supported Trump twice by double digits. In Shiawassee County, Michigan, it looks like this county is also going to be overwhelmingly voting for Trump. Then we've got Valencia County, New Mexico, and this county had the longest streak going all the way back to 1952 before its streak snapped in 2020. That's when it voted for Trump by 9.5 points. So with a higher Hispanic population here, this could be a county to take a look at, but it seems unlikely that it could swing far enough to flip blue again. Back in Michigan, we've got Van Buren County, another one, double digits for Trump, another one that voted for Obama, but it doesn't seem likely that it could go toward Harris this time. Vigo County, Indiana also was a very notable bellwether. Its streak went back to 1956, but in 2020, it was another substantial win for Trump. It's unlikely it's going to revert to how it was voting back in the Obama days. Warren County, Illinois is another one that voted 20 points for Trump last time. Even though it voted for Obama, it looks like those days are going to be well in the past. Washington County, Maine is a similar situation. Almost 20 points for Trump. Again, maybe it's a little hard to believe considering it voted for Obama 2 times, but I don't think Harris is going to be able to contest this county. Then in Virginia, we've got Westmoreland County. This one voted for Trump, but it was by single digits. So unless there was a massive influx of college-educated voters, it would seem like this one is likely to stay red. And finally, Wood County, Ohio. This is a similar story as the last county. It's not too far from Toledo, but it seems like this one is again likely to go for Trump. So those are the 18 counties that had their streak snap, and out of all of them, only a few of them are in single digits, and just Cortland County, New York was in low single digits. So again, unless there's dramatic demographic shift in any of these counties, that seems like the only county that has a chance to vote in either direction. Now we'll close it out here on 538. This article is from a few years ago, but the data still holds up. This goes more into the background of some of the notable bellwethers, including Valencia County, which we covered. That streak was from 1952 to 2016. They have a similar explanation as to what we read about earlier as to why those bellwether counties had their streak snap. They have a chart here to help you visualize. These are those counties by the share of the non-Hispanic white population and share of adults 25 or older with at least a college degree. You can see most of those counties are way toward the right side, which means they have a lot more white voters. And the bottom one is education. You can see all of those are on the left side, and that indicates more voters without a college degree. Now with those demographics, there used to be a higher percentage of them nationally, and during that time, those voters were much more open to voting for each side, and they did swing with the nation at large. But this table here indicates how that demographic overlap has dramatically diverged in the last couple of elections. You can see starting back in 1980, the U.S. margin was about Republican plus 10. The margin in those same bellwether counties was redder, but not overwhelmingly so. You can see that line tends to overlap all throughout the last few decades, but it wasn't until 2016 when that line lurched hard toward the right, and you can see a gigantic gap that continued in 2020, even though the nation at large went a little bit toward the left. So that kind of explains what's behind some of these bellwethers and why these streaks have snapped. It's always fascinating to try to see what's going to happen next, but you can't always go by the bellwethers because a lot of times, as we've seen, things can change. Now the rest of this goes on to talk more about bellwethers and other demographics, and it also points to political polarization. It says just 303 counties were decided by single margins in 2016 compared to 1,096 that fit that description in 1992. And that points back to Clallam County, Washington. That's going to be the big one to take a look at, but every election is unique. Who knows what's going to happen next? But that's a look at bellwether counties, so let me know in the comments. What do you think about any of these counties? Do you agree with why so many streaks snapped in 2020? Which counties will be the new bellwethers in the future? And what about Clallam County? Will it keep its streak in 2024? Let me know down below. On your way out, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to help support the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.